How to have more successful dates. Hi guys, my name is Christine and I'm a dating, relationship and personal development coach. And today I'm talking about how to have more successful dates. But before we get into this video, please leave a like on it and please do subscribe if you haven't done so already. And if there is a topic that you'd like me to discuss in a future video, then please leave it down in the comments. And if you have any advice and any tips yourself, please also leave those down in the comments as well, so we can all help each other out. Thank you so much. So there are a few principles that can lead to having more successful dates. And in this video, I'm going to go through some of those principles that personally helped me in the past to have more successful dates. If this is the first video you've watched of mine, I'm no longer in the dating game. I've been married for about a month now. But when I was still dating, I learned a lot of difficult lessons. Especially in my teenage years, when I was really unsuccessful with trying to get the girls that I liked on a date. So I'm going to go through these principles that really did work for me when I was in the dating game. And with some luck, they will also help you as well. So the first thing that I want to discuss is the mindset that you need to get yourself into before you go on a date. So obviously you want to go into a date feeling confident and sure of yourself. Now, of course, when you go on a date, there's always going to be some butterflies. You're always going to have some kind of nervousness, no matter how confident you are when you go on a date, because obviously you are meeting someone new. Or it could be, especially if you met this person online, or it could be with someone that you've had an attraction for a long time that you finally asked out, and now you're getting on that date. So obviously there's a lot of anticipation that has built up. So don't worry about having those butterflies, the nervous feeling. Of course, you're going to always feel that when you are on a first date with someone. So a good way to get yourself into the right mindset before you even go on a date is to make sure that you've done kind of everything that you need to do for that day, because you don't want to have stuff playing on your mind while you're on a date, like, oh, I should have sent that email, or I should have exercised, or I should have told my boss about this thing that I saw at work. So that you don't want to have basically lots of chatter going on in your head about things that have happened to you that you didn't do, that you haven't addressed during the day, things that you should have done. So you kind of want to do that before you go on your date. So let's say you are meeting someone on Friday evening. You want to make sure that you have done everything that you need to do before you go on that date. Because if you do it and you complete basically everything on your to-do list and you have nothing playing on your mind, when you're on the date, you can be fully present and fully relaxed. You don't want to be, you want to be fully there when you're on the date. You don't want to be thinking about work while you're on your date. You don't want to be thinking about the toxic relationship you have maybe with a friend of yours or a family member while you're on a date. You want to address those things. You want to have peace of mind before you go on a date. So that's really important. So another thing that you can do to help with your mindset before you go on a date, like a couple of hours before you go on this date, go to the gym, exercise, or exercise at home, because that also makes you feel a lot more calm and more relaxed. And when you do exercise, you have that endorphin release afterwards. And not only that, you'll feel really good about yourself. You'll probably feel more attractive. And it's really important that you actually feel attractive, you feel confident when you're on a date, because if you don't think that you're attractive, you're not going to be able to come across attractive. Because everything usually is mindset, because most of life is a bit of a head game. Like, you need to get yourself into the right frame of mind. And if you don't feel attractive, then you need to do something before you go on the date so you can feel attractive. And exercise might be something to do, that might make you feel good about yourself and more confident. So that's something that you can do. Also, when you go on your date, wear clothes that you feel attractive in, that you think that you look really good in and really hot in. And if you do that, then of course you're going to come across more confident and more attractive when you're on that date. So the first part of having more successful dates is your whole mindset before you go on that date. So let's go into the next principle, which is the mindset that you must have while you are on that date. So a lot of people go into dates thinking, how can I get this person to like me? What can I do? What action should I do? What things should I say to get this person to like me? But This isn't really a good idea because the whole time you're just going to be trying to seek their validation. So really a date should be just an enjoyable experience that you create to get to know the person and to find out if they are right for you. So instead of going into a date thinking, oh, how can I get this person to like me? Go into a date thinking, am I going to like this person? I'm going to find out lots of little things about this person today. I'm going to find out if this person is actually worth my time, if they are worth a second date, or if you've already been on one date with them, if they are worth a third date. So each time you go on a date with someone, you should be trying to find out more information about them. So to find out basically if this person is actually worth another date after this one. That's what you should be doing. That's the mindset that you should have. You should be using these experiences, these enjoyable experiences, to find out whether or not this person is someone you should go on another date with. I made a video about how to attract the right person, where I go into a workshop on basically how to find the right person, and basically some exercises that you can do to understand what it is that you actually want. So when you do go on a date, you're looking for the things that you want, so you can find someone who is actually right for you. Obviously as well, it needs to be an enjoyable experience. So when you do go on a date with someone, find ways that you can make it more fun for the both of you. Not just you, but for the both of you. Because it's not necessarily where you go that's really important. It's more about how you come across and the attitude that you have. And if you're always cracking jokes, trying to make the other person smile and feel good, then no matter what, that person's going to have an enjoyable experience. Because I remember when I was a teenager and I didn't really have that much money, when I would go on dates with people, something that I found was really useful was it didn't really matter what we was doing. We could have been just looking around and browsing through shops, but I would make jokes at things that were happening, or we would people watch and kind of like take the mick out of people, right? So the one thing that I remember doing was like giving people voices. So like if you see someone and they're kind of like chatting to someone else, you can kind of like say to your date like, oh, look at those two people talking over there. And then you can kind of guess what they're trying to say to each other. So it could be like two big burly men who are clearly like, you know, heterosexual straight men, right? And they go to the gym, right? And they're really, really buff. I would probably say something like, oh, I bet they're talking about going to the ballet tonight and getting in their tutus, you know, something like that, you know, something funny, something ridiculous that can make the other person laugh. Because obviously, of course, those two men probably weren't going to be doing that later on in the day, but it was just funny because of the contrast. So you can do things like that. Even just something simple as people watching you can change and transmute into a really, really fun, enjoyable experience. So it doesn't really matter how much money you have. It depends on your attitude and how you're coming across. And if you're throwing jokes like that, and if you're being playful and friendly and just enjoying yourself and having a good time, being positive and lighthearted about the whole situation, about the whole date, then the person that you're on a date with is going to feel really good about themselves, and they're going to have a laugh as well. And it's going to be fun, and they're going to want to be around you more, because if you make them feel good and make them feel positive emotions, like, you know, when you're telling jokes and stuff like that, then they're going to want to spend more time around you. We all want to spend more time around those people who make things fun. Like a good example of this is if you are at a workplace or at a school, and there's always one person who you really want to be on your team because of how fun they make it. You know, emulate those kinds of people when you go on dates. Try and be like that when you're on a date. Aim to be that person who you always want to hang around with, who you always want to be on the shift with at work, because of how fun and how enjoyable they make it. So aim to be like that. And basically what you want to do, you want to have this attitude of like you two being like two school children, just having fun and just making jokes and just having a good time. That's kind of the attitude that you want to have when you go on a date and when you're on the date with that person. So another thing that you have to do as well is to kind of control your enthusiasm. And if you are of age, don't get like really, really drunk, because if you get really drunk and you can't control yourself, you're going to make more mistakes. And also controlling your enthusiasm means, I don't know about you, but when I was a teenager, if the girls I liked were around me, I would show off and make an idiot of myself, basically. And, you know, you need to control that enthusiasm. You need to control your mind and your actions so you don't come across as an idiot, right? You need to refrain, you need to rein in basically your enthusiasm, because obviously enthusiasm is good, but if there's too much of it and you're making an idiot of yourself, like what people do when they get drunk, then you're going to put this person off you if you say something really stupid. Because when you first go on dates with people, those first initial dates, you're on probation, and obviously they should be on probation as well in your eyes. And if you say things in that time while they're still judging you, judging who you are, that are really, really stupid or offensive, or it's really inappropriate, like really, really inappropriate, then that's going to put them off you. And because, in those early stages, it's really, really important that you come across the right way, because first impressions last. Find a way to control your enthusiasm and your excitement, and control any kind of alcohol that you might have on that date if you are of age. So that goes into my next principle, which is the mindset that you have to have after the date. So when the date is over. So obviously, again, this is where you need to control your enthusiasm. So if you had a really good date and you're really, really attracted to this person, you need to, again, control your enthusiasm and not reach out to them straight away, because they need time to think about you as well. They need time to discover whether or not they actually want to go on another date with you. So the best rule of thumb that I've personally found is to wait roughly around 5 days before contacting them, before reaching out to them again. Just take your time before asking them out again. Give them that space to think about you. And basically, what's really good about waiting the 5 days before you contact them again is it will show you who this kind of person is. So if this person is really, really interested in you, they will probably initiate contact with you before those 5 days are up, if they're really, really into you, right? If they have a very high attraction level for you. And of course, when they reach out to you, then all you need to do then is ask when they're available again to meet up. That's all you need to do if they reach out to you. The people that are insecure, or the people that are easily offended, who obviously you don't want to be with, will probably either block you, or they may even tell you that you're playing games with them. They may reach out to you and say something like that. And basically what they're doing is they're just showing that they are insecure. So if someone gets angry with you or upset, or they block you when you haven't contacted them within those 5 days, you haven't initiated contact, will show you basically all about their mindset. This will show you that they are insecure. And it may be a bit of a bummer, because you may have actually really, really liked them and thought they were really attractive, and then all of a sudden they just no longer want to talk to you because you didn't contact them first. But you have to weed out these kinds of people. You need to weed out the people that are insecure and act this way, that act really immaturely just because you haven't contacted them first. It's really immature, so just see it as their loss and move on to the next person. And then there'll be the people that will not contact you or initiate contact within those 5 days. And that's when, after those 5 days, you can contact them and ask them out again. And if they're interested in you and they enjoyed the previous date that they had, they probably will say yes to going out with you again. And if they're not interested in you, then they will probably give you a flaky response. And of course, if someone gives you a flaky response and they're not directly telling you when they're available to meet up again, because obviously after those 5 days are up, you ask them, hey, how are you? When are you free to hang out again? If they don't give you the days when they are available to do so when you ask that, they are not interested. If someone is flaky, or if they say, I'm not really ready to date right now, stuff like that, that is just their way of saying no. And basically, if they say something like that and they reject you, or they're just being really flaky with you, then all you need to say is, well, you have my contacts, so just let me know if you change your mind. And that's all you need to do. That's the kind of attitude that you have to have. And the great thing about waiting 5 days or so after you have finished a date, basically, before you contact them again and ask them when they're available to hang out, eventually, when you keep on doing this person will see that, oh, this person always waits roughly around a week to message me before asking me out again. So if I want to see them, then basically I need to start initiating contact first, which is exactly what happened with my wife. I would message her every 5 days after a date, and then eventually she started contacting me more and more, and because she started initiating more contact with me, that's when we started to see each other more and more, because we got together. We had our first date at the end of September in 2017, and then by November 2017 we were in a relationship. So for the first couple of dates, you probably will only see each other once a week, and then eventually they will start to reach out to you more and more once they realize that you're only going to contact them once a week. And that's when you can start seeing each other more, and that's when things will start to progress into a relationship. But you have to take your time and not rush things, which is why you need to wait the 5 days initially, within the first 1 or 2 dates, and then usually after the second date, that's when they start to reach out to you a little bit more, and you start entering into that physical relationship, and you're not just hanging out. So that was my video on how to have more successful dates. These are of course things that have worked for me. If you use these principles, please let me know how you get on with them. If you'd like to get in touch with me personally, then please go to www.christineloveridge.com. On the shop page of that website, you'll be able to find a free PDF download, and that PDF is basically a dating and relationship manual. So if you are struggling with those areas, that might be able to help you. And if you have any critiques, anything that you wish I had put in it, then please let me know so I can make it the best product possible for those people that want it. Thank you so much, guys, and I shall talk to you again very soon. Goodbye.